Hello, everyone. Your roving reporter here, or your crapster, or whatever you want to label me as. I would suggest probably person of accountability, maybe. Anyway, I have some information that you may be aware of to pass on to you. You may not be. If not, you may be surprised at the information. You may not be. Uh, this was a difficult. This out of the 200 and some 254 videos I've done, this one was the hardest to label. I with the subject line, the content of it, I was not quite sure how I would label it because I could have labeled it many ways. But so I chose McPherson County, Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story. I thought that fitting. And I'm a big fan of Paul Harvey's, as I'm sure you are. He's a great man. Um, so that's the way I went. Um, so in this video, I want to discuss primarily two individuals. I'm going to introduce another one to you, but it's primarily about two individuals that are somewhat similar, and who apparently work in tandem on particularly one issue that I'm going to bring up. So let's start with Austin Huffman, the McPherson County State's Attorney, elected by you, folks of the county, for my time. If I had the opportunity, I can safely say that I would not have voted for him. But unfortunately, state law requires that counties elect a state's attorney. And from what I understand, at the time, Mr. Huffman was the only one that was running. And so you had a choice of either electing him or staying home. Not much of a choice. And if you're not aware, Mr. Huffman is running for state attorney general on the 26th of June. Committee persons, those that were just recently elected on June 2nd, as well as delegates at large, county GOP committee persons, they're all going to have this an opportunity to vote at the state GOP convention for attorney general, secretary of state, public utilities commission chairman, and I think there's one or two others that they get to vote on. You, the people, don't vote on them. These people will vote on them for you. And I believe I pointed that out in a recent video. I also pointed out that this is why so many ran for committee person and delegate at large at this time, or this time. Up until June 2nd, the county was pretty empty when it came to committee people, and they came out of the woodwork for this one. And it was either because Mr. Huffman recruited them, asked them nicely, however you want to put it, or they just felt obligated, being that they know him and are possibly friends with him. Again, don't know. But as I also stated, they have no intention of committing to the full responsibilities of a committee person or a delegate at large, other than going to the convention and placing their votes for Mr. Huffman. And I'll be posting their names and contact information towards the end of this video. So, Mr. Huffman will tell you, Mr. Huffman has told me anyway, that he has a lot of followers. He has a lot of followers that back him up. Maybe not. I don't really care. I can tell you that if you go to his Attorney General candidate webpage, it's pretty straightforward, basic webpage. And last time I checked, last time was about a week ago, he's only got 2 endorsements. And that's it. Now, if you have a lot of people following you in the legal realm, you would think that you would have a page full of endorsements at least, but two endorsements. And again, I'm not sure how many followers he has. He didn't give me a number. He just says he has a lot of followers. But I can tell you, and I can tell him, that there are thousands more that don't want to see him as Attorney General. And here's why, in my own opinion. Number one, I don't believe he has the maturity to be the AG. And I'm not belittling him, his maturity level. He has adult maturity, no doubt. But I don't believe he has enough maturity to hold a high-level position that is so important to citizens of this state. And as I go down, you'll see why I came up with that. He admitted at number two, he admitted at the state GOP candidate forum. This was a Zoom call, basically for all the candidates that were running. That he has only had 2 jury trials. He lost one, and he won one. Two jury trials. Okay, so I guess your resume qualifies you for Attorney General. If so, I can say that I was a witness for a judge trial one time, and the person that I was a witness for won the case overwhelmingly. And I guess that gives me enough experience to run for Attorney General or be Attorney General. I don't know. According to Mr. Huffman, I could be in the running. He does not have the experience. He does not have the experience to be Attorney General. Number 4. He and his dad, Charlie B., signed an easement with Summit Pipeline, and Charlie B. testified at Public Utility Commission's hearings in favor of that pipeline. Like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. Pipe your hazardous waste through our land. Sounds like a good idea. When the easements were signed, State's Attorney Huffman said, conflict of interest here. I'm sorry, I have to bow out. You elected me, but there's more important things than the county, and so I'm gonna have to bow out. And so the commissioners got into panic mode, and they started looking for an attorney that wanted to work for the county. And when Mr. Huffman caught wind of that, he basically blew a gasket. Now, under South Dakota state law, he has the right or the authority to hire his temporary replacement. South Dakota state law. I'm not going to dispute that. He could have went to the commissioners. I don't know how many gaskets he blew. I don't know exactly what he said to the county commissioners in regards to them going out and trying to find a lawyer. But I do know for sure that he went to the commissioners and he told them, if you don't knock this off, I'm paraphrasing, if you don't knock this off, I'm going to sue. I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to sue the county. I'm going to sue the people that elected me. What a pickle that would have been, right? Number 5, I have been told that there are a few offices within the courthouse that are not exactly pleased with how he's doing business with them. There are documents that that they are giving to him to work on or complete, or there's documents that are needed from him to their office. Anyway, it is from what I understand, it's sometimes can take weeks to get the documentation that they need. And in the period of a waiting time, that slows them down. those offices down and waiting on the material from him. That is a strike against work ethics, or not work ethics, but you know what I'm talking about. Number 6. On March 10th, when the Eureka mayor showed up to give her famous speech, about unwavering support to the commissioners, that is up until just had a meeting June 4th, and he still didn't show up. That was the last time I remember ever seeing him attending a commissioners meeting. And it just so happens that was around the same time that he threw his hat in the ring as a candidate for Attorney General and went into campaign mode. I guess now he's too busy campaigning that he doesn't have time for the county. Now, it doesn't say, there's nowhere that says that he has to attend the meetings, but I just find it ironic and odd at the same time that he's not around anymore while he's out campaigning. Finally, number 7. I will mention this. I will continue to mention this every opportunity I get until I see some accountability for what took place. He turned his head on April 2nd, 2024. He turned his head or instructed the county commissioners to break the law by rejecting election integrity petitions. And then, if that wasn't good enough, then he proceeded to accompany the Gunther Palmer or whatever lawyer from Rapid City, Sarah Frankenstein, accompanied her via Zoom or other forms of communication to also instruct several counties to also reject election integrity petitions. And in doing so, they lied to these commissioners by telling them that Supreme Court statutes said that the commissioners do not have the commissioners do not have the authority to accept these petitions, and thus they must reject them. Again, I will say that it was a lie, because these Supreme Court statutes dealt with zoning ordinances, not with election integrity citizen petitions. Of the counties that they went to, there was one, I believe it was Fall River, that said, you know what, we don't need your help. We're going to do this the right way. We're going to obey the law. And those commissioners did it right and obeyed the law. Basically told Sarah Frankenstein, thanks, but no thanks. We're not going to be listening to you. Anyway, it's not his time, folks. It's not his time. He's not ready for this position. If a state's attorney is so easily going to turn their head and not report their job, if they see something unlawful, they're not a cop, so they can't arrest somebody, but they can take the situation to the attorney general, who is the supervisor of the state's attorney. They can take it to the attorney general and report what they've seen, and action can be taken. At the very least, the state's attorney could tell the commissioners, look, if you reject these petitions, you're breaking law. At the very least. So now, can we expect him, if he becomes attorney general, can we expect him to turn a blind eye to certain criminals, certain law breaking that's going to happen in the state? I mean, it's a logical question. Logical question. And very concerning if that were to happen. It's not his time. He's not ready for the position. So as a county, we're in a bit of a dilemma. On one hand, everyone that's eligible in the county that can vote at the convention could also instruct or beg others throughout the state to vote for Mr. Huffman and get him put in as Attorney General. And then McPherson County would rid him of his services. But on the other hand, do we want to rid our burden onto the citizens of the state? Attorney General of the state, there's a lot of crime. It's not just people that go out and shoplift. There's some very serious crimes that happen in this state. Do we, again, want to rid our burden and put somebody that's inexperienced and questionable that could affect thousands and upon thousands of people in the state? I don't know. It is a dilemma. Okay. Enough about Mr. Huffman. So the second individual that I want to bring up is Sheriff Dave Ackerman. He too has been missing from quite a few commissioners' meetings lately. Don't know why. I'm sure maybe he's busy, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what I want to discuss. He is close to Mr. Huffman. In what respect outside of duty hours, I don't know. I don't care. It's not my business, so I can't really say. But from what I understand, Sheriff Ackerman is also close to a Mr. Trevor Jones. And so let me show you a picture of Mr. Trevor Jones. Okay, that's Mr. Trevor Jones. Trevor Jones used to be a former DCI, Detective Chief Inspector. And so this is probably how Sheriff Ackerman and Trevor got acquainted, dealing with crime and bad guys and girls and stuff like that. Well, Trevor gave that up, I'm sure, because it wasn't paying good enough. And he is now a lobbyist for Summit Carbon Pipeline. And I can guarantee you that he's making way north of six figures working for Summit Carbon Pipeline, trying to convince farmers that it is okay for us to stick a hazardous waste pipeline in your property 4 feet below the ground, which is, by the way, is at the frost line, and under high pressure, and no need to worry. It'll be okay. Anyway, that's Trevor. And the reason why I am introducing you, it's important, because here's where we have a group of buddies that I believe have gotten too close on this Summit Carbon Pipeline topic. And so I want to, if you've not seen this, I want to show you an email, and I'm going to read it to you. And let me see if I can get it out of the sun here. And this is an email that says, subject line at the top, Summit Carbon Solutions confidential briefing on May 15th, 2023, it looks like, 11/25. And notice it is from Dave Ackerman, Sheriff Dave Ackerman. And so let me read what he says. And this went to our commissioners, Mr. Bilkey, Mr. Coons, Mr. Opp, Mr. Newharth, Mr. Fikert. And then it also went to Lindley Howard as well. CC to the county auditor. And it says, McPherson County Commissioners, Auditor Howard. On Thursday, April 13th, I was contacted by, he was contacted on 13th, but it took him 2 days to get this email out. That's really interesting. I didn't just notice that. On Thursday, April 13th, I was contacted by Summit Carbon Solutions employee, Trevor Jones. Remember, I showed you a picture, Trevor Jones. By the way, that picture was taken in a meet and greet in somewhere in Aberdeen, I believe, Brown County. He was trying to sell his BS to the farmers there. Trevor Jones. He asked that Trevor contacted the sheriff, that I pass along an invitation to a and this is in all caps, high-level confidential pipeline briefing to the McPherson County Commission. This is by invitation only and is scheduled for Tuesday, April 18th, 2023 at 2 p.m. The location is the Brown County Courthouse. The invitation is for two commissioners only. They have 5. They only want 2. And in parentheses, he has avoiding the quorum. In other words, you can't vote on this shit. Excuse me. No quorum. 2 commissioners to attend, and has been extended to Brown County and Edmonds County Commissioners and Emergency Management. Brown County Commissioners Mike Wees and Dwayne Sutton received this briefing last week. Trevor Jones encouraged any one of our commissioners to contact Sutton or Wees for their take on the briefing and if they see value in attending. I suspect they will provide updated numbers, a more definitive route. Okay. And projected revenues for them. Who gives a shit about that? But I don't know this for certain, the sheriff says. If anyone does visit with Sutton or Wees, I would appreciate hearing what they took away from the briefing. Now I'm going to stop right here. This is a high-level, confidential meeting. Why would anybody want to tell the sheriff what was talked about in the meeting if it's high-level, confidential? And also something I want to point out. I ran on transparency. I ran on transparency on the county commissioners board to have more transparency. Do you call this transparency? I'm setting up a confidential meeting between commissioners and Summit Carbon Pipeline, the same carbon pipeline that wants to take property away from, via eminent domain, away from people. Do you call that transparency? I don't call that transparency whatsoever, but that's okay. Excuse me. So the last sentence it says, and now it makes sense, I am considering attending. Okay. So he would be part of the non-transparency, confidential, high-level confidential meeting. Let me know if there is any additional information you require from me. Respectfully, Dave. It's right there. I just read it word for word. I don't know. Folks, you may be aware of this. Um, I this stinks to high heaven. This really stinks to high heaven. Um, why is a commissioner? Why is a sheriff getting involved in something like this? Why? That's not part of his official duties based on state law. I looked. I went through his official duties today. Didn't see anything in there about being a liaison between a company that wants to screw over county residents and commissioners, setting up a meeting. Nothing in the state law that says that. Is this against the law? I don't know. I would venture to guess that it's not against the law. But it stinks. Stinks to high heaven. I'll let you decide what to make of this. And this is why I'm going to give you the names and contact information of these people, because they're going to be voting on Attorney General. And Attorney General and Sheriff Ackerman and Trevor, like I said, all intermingled. Is it against the law? I don't believe it is, but with a lot of things that have been going on lately, it appears that a lot of our elected officials believe that they are above the law. And they can believe that because they're not held accountable. So they can, rules for thee, laws for thee, not for me thing. Two questions about this. And one of them is the time. 2 p.m. on the 18th. So one question. Let's say that Commissioner, or not, why do I want to call him Commissioner? That Sheriff Dave Ackerman attended this on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Now, did Sheriff Ackerman would he have taken the day off for this meeting? Are we paying him to go to this meeting to find out more about how Summit Carbon Pipeline was going to screw over the citizens of the county? Logical question. The other question I have is, if he's got time to do this, I would think that he would have time. I mean, what is it exactly that he's doing for the county? I don't know. Do you know what he's doing for the county? I don't know. Other than this now, that happened in 23. I've said before, there's no website. He has no website. We don't know how many arrests have been made every month. We don't know what kind of arrests have been made during the month. We have no way, excuse me, we have no way to gauge what he's doing for the community other than basing it on what he tells us. I might be wrong. If anybody's got the numbers, please share them with me. But from what I understand, this meeting did not take place with the commissioners. I was informed that Commissioner Fikert did not agree to what was going on. Thank you, Commissioner Fikert, for being reasonable. And he exposed this email and what was going on. But to what level of exposure, I'm not aware of. I don't know who was told. And I would be surprised if you were told. I would be surprised if you found out. Okay. With that said, there's something else I want to bring into play, and it's called the oath of office. Oath of office for an elected official or someone in a particular job where it is required. And I'm going to read the oath of office. I, and then you have to state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of let me repeat that again. I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Let me read the military oath. I, state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. I personally took this oath 7 times. One time at the recruiting station, one time at the AFI station in Sioux Falls, one time at boot camp, and 4 other times when I re-enlisted. This oath, folks, I don't know how many of you have taken it. I know there's some out there of you that have. This oath is not a bunch of words you say so that you can get a job. These words have meaning. I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. I have major problems. And this is happening across the country. I'm sure you're well aware we have state representatives that forgot the oath that they took. I'm very positive that you know that we have congressional people in DC that sure as HE double hockey sticks forgot that oath that they took. I have a major issue with people that take that oath and forget it. I've always said, and a lot of military veterans will say this, the order of precedence should always be God, country, family. In fact, I have a Rumble video on it. I don't remember which segment it was, but I did a video just on that alone. God, family, or God, country, family. Excuse me. And a lot of people have a problem with that, and I understand. Why would you put country before family? Well, I usually will tell them that sometimes members of the family hate the country. I also tell them if you don't have a country to protect, there is a possibility you're not going to have a family. God, country, family. You disrespect the oath, I have a major issue with that. Major issue. So these newly elected committee members, what do you think they're going to be doing when they get to the convention? GOP convention in Rapid City. I know. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, we're human beings. I don't know if that's unfortunate, but we're human beings, okay? Unfortunately, when there is a friendship, there are different facets of emotions that are involved. It's just the way it is because we're human. People can be swayed by emotions many times. And a lot of times, these emotions will steer them in the wrong direction and put themselves and their friends or their friendships before other people, per se, the country, or in this case, the county. So here is a list of the people and their contact information. I'm going to show that to you. Jody Waldman had sent this out in another email. And let me see. Let me bring that up for you. Okay, right there. I'll repeat them off. You can always, if you're watching the video, you can go back and forth to get the contact numbers and the email numbers. It is very important for us to contact these individuals, people, folks, and ask them nicely. No need to get mean with them. To not vote on emotions, friendship emotions, but on what is right for the state. So we have Precinct 1, Dawn Jenner. I've gone through the list before. Another video, we got Jerry Geffrey, Trevor Zonto, Trisha Erdman, Lori Barrett, James Barrett, Charles B. Huffman, Stacey Ackerman, delegates at large, Mark Lopke, Mike Lopke, and Sheriff Ackerman. Now, as Jody puts down here, with the exception of Senator Mark and Mike Lopke, all others, it was possibly recruited to run and vote for Austin in the convention. I could safely bet that Mark and Mike know what's up, and they'll be doing the right thing. So these are the folks that we need to contact. I will be contacting them. More than likely, they're not going to like me contacting them, but I don't care. If you don't contact him because of the reason that you may feel intimidated, or you don't feel comfortable about calling or emailing them because you don't want them to know who you are and sending your thoughts, you know what? I don't have a problem. Send me an email. You'll have my email address. Send me an email. Give me your thoughts, and I will confidentially pass that on to either the whole group if you want it addressed to the whole group, or just an individual person. Excuse me. I don't have an issue with doing that, and like I said, it'll be confidential. We need to let these people know. Anyway, finally, the last words on this. You know, if people in the county, I mean, I do videos on a huge range of topics. Most of them are with stuff that goes on in the country. But here lately, I've been doing a lot for the county. But you know, if people were honest, if people abided by the oaths that they took, if people were trustworthy, if people were law abiding, and cared about this county and you out there, I wouldn't have to do these videos. They'd put me out of a job, which would be okay. It's a job I don't need. But I feel it's important to inform you and to keep you informed of what's going on behind the scenes. The stuff that you don't hear about. Because gathering information for all this, I mean, I'm looking up codified laws. I'm looking up a whole bunch of stuff. For this video, and this actually I didn't have to look up too much. There wasn't too much research involved. It takes to gather the information, to do the video, to upload the video, to get the video out to you. It's a process. Probably takes about, in the scheme of things, to some that might not be that long, but it takes about 5 to 6 hours. And that's 5 to 6 hours that I could be doing something else. Maybe these folks will put me out of a job and I won't have to do it anymore. Anyway, that's all I've got. Take care out there, all right?